Okay, now we should hear. So it is 10. I'm going to share this in. Okay, now we should hear. All right. So it is 10. I'm going to share this. I'm going to mute YouTube. Okay, there we go. Testing 1 2 1 2 3. I am going to start in 9 minutes. Gotta love technology. Okay. All right, we got sound. I'm going to share this. No, it actually sounds pretty good. And I did think about that. Thank you. Actually, yeah. Okay, that's not going to turn off. So I'm just going to put this here. There it is. Okay, this next time. Hmm? Oh, I break it. Yeah. Oh, are you comfortable? Okay. No, it's good. Okay. Okay, so this thing. Oh, okay. Oh, that's fine. We'll just do this. Thank you. Okay, shout out to my ride or die. I'm not going to swear because this is YouTube. Okay, I'm going to get myself in the mindset here.
Let's go. I'm going to share this. Hopefully my video doesn't get dinged because of copyright issues. I'm going to share this real quick. My Zoom link from my Beyond Clarity Telegram group. If you'd like to join, private message me and we'll get you on. All right, I'm going to put you on pause right now, Instagram. Yeah, I love technology. Shout out to IMC Nation Avenue for helping me get started. What do you know? It's 7 p.m. Central Time. All right. Okay, here we go. And check the audio real quick. I'm not nervous, but the feeling of nervousness is there. I'm separating myself from the feeling, making sure we're still live here. Yep. Sure enough. Yep, definitely still live. I'm gonna get back on Instagram. Okay. All right. Remind myself to stop. 10 minutes. So let's go 50 minutes. So we shall see here. All right, back to meeting here. All right, I guess this is the meeting. All right.
Welcome to Beyond Clarity. My name is Tony Kazmiski, aka TK, and this is my very first live on IMC TV. I was supposed to live stream last Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, but I didn't follow directions correctly. I just assumed I could live stream on my phone like I am on Instagram right now. And what do you know? Last minute, frantically trying to get things going, reaching out to IMC Abnu to rescue me, which he just did. That's why I'm on this time. And I still went live on my Zoom, but I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I promised to live stream on our IMC Nation TV account. And since we're on that topic, and since I don't like wearing hats inside, but I want to quick give Tones Design a plug for designing this graphic, and Rick Lamore for putting it on a hat. He's in Vegas right now, so he can't make hats or shirts anymore for you, but Tones Designs for sure for making that, giving him a plug. All right, where was I? So have you ever said you're going to do something and then not do it, or wait till last minute and just frantically put it off and be like, oh, this always happens to me? And I'm not going to swear because this is on the YouTube platform, and from my understanding, if you swear, they'll ding you or you'll get shadow banned. Who knows? So I'm not going to risk that. Instead of saying half-assed, I call it half-heartedly, where you just half-heartedly do something and then you get the half-hearted outcome and you're like, okay, this is what I'm used to. This is what I'm expecting. Well, sure enough, that's what happened to me last Friday. And and even tonight, just kind of last minute, not having a space to do my live stream. And then my girl, Melissa, pulling off, excuse me, I just had some chicken wings. And providing the space for me. So I got this light, I got Wi-Fi, I got this comfortable living room and couch and spread out. And she's in the kitchen doing her thing, kind of listening to me, and just having someone around kind of makes me a little nervous. But oh, here we are. Okay, I'm gonna quick invite peeps in my Telegram group here, since we're on something about having people on. I know AZD, IMC Nation, Jay Grudev, and what do you know, Will Rios is starting his. So many Phoenix Walker. Okay, one more. Okay, there's a waiting room. Admit all. How do I take the waiting room off here? See, this is why you prepare and you get things started. Holy cow, Kenny Simmons, man. This is why you get things started and prepared beforehand. How's the T Mother effing XL? How's the Audio Brothers? Just give me a thumbs up. I'm looking to take the waiting room off here. Okay, thank you, Mr. Neil Kerr. Before I get started, I'm pretty much, since this is my official first time live streaming on IMC Nation TV, this is why you show up early and you make sure you give everything a test run, make sure your ducks are in a row, because right now I'm like looking to see how I can take the waiting room off of this. And this is something that could have been taken care of before. And now it's like the energy is focused on the waiting room. And it's like, you know what? I'm done. I'm over it now. I'm just going to live stream here on Zoom. Double check YouTube Live. We're still on. Okay. So, have you ever done anything? I call it half-heartedly. I'm not going to swear because I'm live streaming on YouTube, where you just want to prepare for something, and then when it's time to do it, you're frantically like last minute trying to get it together, and then you get a half-hearted outcome, and then you're like, okay, this always happens to me. Why does this always happen to me? And that's exactly what happened to me last Friday when I was supposed to live stream at IMC TV. Had the directions, had everything I was supposed to do, and I just assumed I could do it all from my phone when the directions said you have to do it on a desktop. So Phoenix, he's actually we have all the 4 pillars of power leaders here. Phoenix Walker is actually going to host tomorrow with his guest, and now that I have an upgraded Zoom account, I'm going to be able to provide the platform for Phoenix Walker, give him a little plug tomorrow, I believe at 1 p.m. Pacific time. If I'm wrong, I'm going to add it in the comments here and change it. So why am I doing this? I don't want to do this. I'm nervous. I'm not nervous, but the feeling of nervousness and anxiousness is there. I'm separating myself from the feeling, but you also can take that feeling and transmute it into something positive. Another 4 pillars of power plug there. So someone out there wants to hear your story, your version of your story from you. So stop holding yourself back. I've been in enough groups to count now, different self-development groups. And let's go back a couple of years ago. I was in a crossroads in my life. Actually, a few years ago, it was October 2018. I moved back up from Florida to Wisconsin. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I was living in sunny Florida, living it up, going to school for something I was interested in, doing all these interesting things in the entertainment business industry. And life serves me a huge slice of humble pie. And I moved back up to the cold, soul-destroying polar vortex, Wisconsin. And I'm up here thinking like, oh my God, I moved out of here for this reason. Right before winter hit, like, what am I doing with my life? Well, at that time, I was watching AZD, Rajdeep Azar's free live streams. I believe there were Sunday service on his Instagram. And I look forward to that, like, especially on my drill weekends. I've just not too long ago retired from the Air Force National Guard. I wanted to serve, but something just didn't feel right there. I just didn't feel like I fit in with the group. I wasn't passionate in what I was doing. I think it was just being around people for me, like energies feeding off, being in a leadership position, but not feeling as a leader, like not seeing myself as a leader and kind of holding myself back and being shy and timid. Well, watching the AZD free live streams was just pretty much like something I look forward to every Sunday. And then sometimes he'd live stream for free at night. Well, the place where I was at in my life, AZD said a few things that would stick out to me. Like, I would basically like just feel good, like, okay, I feel good now. I feel better than I did before. I'm not going to apply everything that I learned or what he told me to. I'm just going to feel good and get back to whatever I was doing. Remind myself not to swear on here. Well, AZD was saying a few things that really hit home to me. And one of them was, you're spending your money on dumber stuff. So people would thank him like, oh, thank you so much for what you do and who you are and everything. And he's like, don't thank me, pay me. Oh, no, do that. I'm just thinking like all the dumb stuff I spent my money on, like think of something that you spend your money on or you blew your money on. Like for me, it was trips. I went to Hawaii for a week and a half after a 6.5-month deployment in Bagram, Afghanistan 10 years ago. And I can't say I was miserable, but I was just like, there's something missing here. Like I spent all this money on this trip. I'm here on the beach, everything's perfect. And I'm just like, something just doesn't feel right here. And then here I am watching AZD, and he's saying, you spend your money on dumb stuff, don't thank me, pay me, And I'm like, okay. So I start liking some of his posts, commenting, and then out of the blue, there is this bald-headed yogi looking dude called Yoga Bliss Chris private messaging me, hey, I see you liked AZD's post, well, what do you like about it? What do you think about him? And I'm like, he's pretty much living the life every man would dream, not every man, but every man would thought about it. And I have thought about it in the past. I was actually introduced to AZD over 10 years ago uh, through a friend who I went to his website, and I knew what he was doing was true. It just scared me because I felt something inside of me, like I know I have it in me, but oh no, I just don't like this feeling of anxiety, and it's like discomfort. Like I'm gonna have to go through all this work and this pain. I have to overcome all these limiting beliefs to live the life that I want. So no, go back to school. They even the Air Force National Guard, like you can get higher rank having a degree and everything, and just thinking like, oh, I need a degree to be successful, and that's what my friends are doing. So that's what I did, and just tens of thousands of dollars I blew on that, and I'm finally doing something with my degree, and I wouldn't be doing that had I not joined IMC Nation and attended AZD's lectures, attended some live beast camps, went out to San Jose and attended a few VIP parties now. And I go out there and I'm like, I see AZD running the whole party, like the gentleman's club, the owner, the models, the Cervantes brothers, Master Pyro, like he's pretty much running the whole show. And I'm getting chills right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I gotta do this now. And I'm so overwhelmed. I come back here in Wisconsin and I'm like, I gotta do something with this, And I've done I think 7 or 8 shows now, DJ shows at gentlemen's clubs, which is unheard of, by the way. We're doing our second show at a restaurant now, slowly turning into a club downtown Milwaukee, and 2 festivals. And that's all over a year and a half span. And I would not have done that had I not joined IMC Nation and applied the AZD process. So think about something, anything that you always wanted to do, you always dreamed of, and picture yourself doing that. Just think about that right now. Because I and my girl here, she's actually going to be running the photo booth. She used to be a professional wedding photographer, and what we're doing, the tribe that I created out here called Red Blooded Collective, AZD told us, for one, start a base, create a base, no matter where you live. Now, right now, the situation that I'm in, I'm living with my dad. He is beating cancer. He's pretty much handicapped, and it's like it's very humbling. And that's another thing too. A reason why I was like, why did I move back up here? And then not too long after that, my dad got cancer, and I wasn't living with him at the time, but I'll never forget one evening he was in so much pain he couldn't even move. He was crawling around on the dirty floor for a couple days just to eat or go to the bathroom. And I'll never forget seeing the look in his eyes of like fear, pain, regret, hopelessness. And I took him to the emergency room. And to me, that was a big wake up call. That was a sign saying, God, whatever you believe in, a higher power in yourself, this is what's going to happen to you if you stop taking care of yourself. If you don't have a tribe, if you don't have people you can count on, because I'm pretty much one of the only people he can count on around here. Like some of his so-called friends, like one of them stole his one of his pharmaceutical I'm not going to say it on here, but his sister, who can only help so much, and then there's me, and I'm like, oh my god, and I was never really close to my dad. He let's just say he wasn't a good example. Like the thing with men, And this is one reason why I'm never having kids, and that's okay. You want to have kids, more power to you, but do it because you want to. Don't do it because, oh, my parents pressured me or friends or society. Do it because you want to. But we have these men that think they want to settle down and have a child, and then they see how much work goes into it or what they have to give up, and then they just up and leave. And then you got this single mother raising these kids. My mom, I have two different brothers from uh, all different dads, and they think like I could tell like perhaps they wanted to settle down at the time, but then they couldn't give up their bad habit, and each of them had a bad habit, and it's sad. So back to my dad, seeing him that way, that was a huge wake up call. So I'm here. I'm so frustrated. Like I gotta get out to San Jose or LA or Phoenix or Las Vegas, or wherever they're starting a base. But I'm here now. So I brought these two powerful men together that I met in the music scene, called Flo and Jacob, and I brought them together because they're both fed up of what was going on. Like ever since what happened in 2020, if you know, you know, I that's when I joined IMC Nation. I believe it was a Love Spell at the time, and I was watching AZD, and he was sharing things that was going on behind the scenes that they don't want you to know about. And he had us watch a couple documentaries. One was Fall of Cabal, and the other one was Out of Shadows. And I watched them both. And I tell you what, I was sick to my stomach. I actually was in bed for a day. All right, we're back. I forgot to I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. After watching those two documentaries, and I highly recommend you watch them because it's going to open you up like to a whole new world. Like you think you know what's going on, and then you see that. It made me sick for a day. I pretty much laid in bed, felt sorry for myself because everything was closed. I couldn't even go and work out at the local gym, and I was too lazy to. I didn't even know about beasting and the workouts I could do in my back porch. So the next day, I'm like, I got to do something. So I got up and I started walking around. I actually got out in nature, and I was listening and learning to positive things. And that's when AZD was live. Yoga Bliss Chris, now Captain Chris, the man of many hats. He has enlightened masculinity. And then I started connecting with some IMC Nation brothers on Instagram. One of them in particular, Jose Raul Cervantes. Now they're posting these political things of what was going on, and I'm like, who am I to like hold myself back and not share these things? And I was putting stuff out there, and Kenny Simmons was actually one of the first ones to start liking my posts. I'm like, who's this Kenny guy, you know? And I was just thinking like, who am I to hold myself back? And this was after I did the Landmark Forum. It's like personal professional development. It's worldwide. It's shout out to Chris Randall, the creator of Kickstart Cash, who introduced me to Landmark. Now with that story, I actually attended an introduction after his completion, like 7 years ago. And I was in the back with my arms crossed, like, who are these people? Why are they pressuring me to join? Why are they sharing their personal life stories with me? I didn't get it. Like I had these blocks, these walls up where I'm like, no, like I deep down I knew it could probably help me, but I'm like, no, that's not good. No. Well, fast forward like 5 years after that, I come back home. I'm at a crossroads. I go to another introduction. It was actually after his completion of the advanced course, and then things started clicking. Some of the things that the leaders were saying, I actually was starting to learn how to share, and I stood up in the room and I got to feel what my life was like if it were to be organized. And the leader at the time said he saw that in me. He saw that change in me, and I felt something in me like I want to do what he just did for me. Like, I know I have it in me and I want to do for him, for others. Um, okay, I just messed that up. But so where was I going with that? So I was in this thing called the Introduction to Leadership program. It was a 7.5 month intense program that's designed to make you quit. And I tried quitting a few times and my coaches didn't let me. Thank you for that. And during one of the weekend advanced courses held in Chicago, this gentleman stood up in front of the room, kind of a shorter, stockier guy, even shorter than me. I'm 5'7", and he shared a story on how he was in one of those Tough Mudder races, and his team was having a hard time getting over this muddy log. And he told them all, like, we're not leaving until the last one is over that log. So he literally made himself like a step so people could walk over him and get over the log. And he got his whole team motivated and over the log. And I was so moved to tears. I actually had to get up and go to the back of the room. And I'm like, no one makes me cry, especially a man, like, what is this? Like, what is this feeling? I'm getting chills right now. That means we're onto something. What is this feeling I'm feeling right now? And then the second thought was, how selfish am I not to share my story with others like him? If this guy moved me so well, and that's why I was there, because I was in a leadership position where I didn't feel like I was a leader. So I wanted to learn how to better communicate. And where was I going with that? So during the whole, do I dare say it? I'm going to say lockdown because I'm afraid if I say something else, I'm going to get shadow banned here. During what happened back in 2020, I started putting stuff out there. We had a private Telegram group, and IMC Nation members were just sharing stuff real from the heart. So I started sharing things in there that some of them were resonating with. And I actually stopped. And I'll never forget Jose Raul Cervantes reached out to me like, TK, where you been? And I'm like, what, you? And he's like, dude, like, I've been looking forward to your videos. Like, I feel connected with you. And I'm like, holy cow, okay. And some of the other, thank you for that, brother, members too, Mr. Neil Kerr, you had immense admiration for his selfless act towards achieving the greater outcome. That's right. So one reason why I stopped putting myself out there, like, I got really big into the motivational entrepreneur stuff like maybe 15 years ago. I was sharing motivational posts on Facebook, and then so-called friends and some relatives were making fun of me, laughing behind my back, talking whatever, like, you know what. So I stopped. And then people I never imagined I'd hear from reach out to me. Hey, what happened? What happened to your post? I'm like, what, you? Yeah, I look forward to that. Like, man, okay. And come to find out, the people making fun of me, the people writing negative reviews on the Landmark forum, the people hating AZD behind his, not behind his back, but fake accounts, whatnot, even other like motivational gurus. Like, one of them said that he like hired the models and stuff. And, he's living a life so far beyond people's comprehension. Like me living in a small cow town of 4,000 people. When you see someone like AZD living his life and putting it out there, it's going to make people think like, no, that can't be right. No, that can't be real. So when I read those negative reviews or the people hating, I realized they need it the most, but they don't. They have their blinders on, the walls up, like, no, they're blocking it. How do I know that? Because I used to be there. And then I got to a point in my life where I was like, okay, I'm done. Like, this isn't working out. This guy is saying some things that's really resonating with me. Okay, let's see what it's about. All right, I'll invest 97 a month on myself to learn this. Like, one of my sticking points was I think Captain Chris is like, to me, I wasn't getting any younger, and it's like I still feel like I still have the same goals, and I still kind of feel the way I did like so long ago, like even 20 years ago. And I'm like, life's not getting any better. Okay, let's try this out. And if you don't have $97 to invest in yourself, good luck. That's all I can say. Um, where was I going with that? I don't know. This is my first live. Like I feel like I'm hitting a wall right now, but this is just the beginning. And boy, is it different when you're on a platform when you're recording. Just like DJing and mixing, I DJ for fun, and I say that just because I don't feel like I'm good yet. I think a real DJ is on right now. Shout out to Eric Rock on Instagram, who played on my Halloween Dream Festival last October, and oh my God, that's all I can say. That's just the beginning. So, have you ever done anything where it's like you do it fine, but then you hit the record button and then you're like, oh, okay, or you notice yourself making mistakes? That's what I'm going through right now. But like I said before, someone out there needs to hear your story from you. So stop holding yourself back and get yourself out there. Doing what you know is beneficial to the world, regardless of who is with you or not. That's right. Do we have any questions, comments? Oh, all right. Thank you, Trent Laura. I posted the Zoom link on in Telegram if that's what you're talking about. Okay. All right, no questions. Great. Okay, back to my story. The crossroads I hit my life. Now I'm back up here, and oh my God, I just I felt stuck. I felt like I wasn't really getting anywhere in my life. I have this degree, and the things that I want to do with it, I'm finally doing with it. And I just reached a breaking point where, um, let's say the Gentlemen's Club, that this was last October, Elijah. Now, people, I'm going public with this, the Gentlemen's Club, because people, I was actually really against it because I just thought it was degrading women. And it wasn't until I was dating a dancer by mistake. I'm going to mute you, Elijah. Oh, what up, Elijah? If you have any questions later, just type it in the chat here. Don't judge someone. Don't judge someone's life or lifestyle until you've actually stepped in their shoes. So the whole Gentlemen's Club thing, I was actually super against it. This was like 15 years ago. And then come to find out, I was dating a dancer by mistake. She was a cocktail waitress at the same club here, formerly known as Silk. Now it's Solomon's. And I'll never forget, just there hanging out. Because one reason why I hung out in that club, the atmosphere, because for a small town, it was actually like had this Las Vegas nightclub theme. The owner of the Silk franchise was doing so good. He had a club in Milwaukee and Madison, and he started one in Juneau because it's pretty much like an hour away from major cities, Milwaukee, Madison, and Appleton. And it was a really good stopping point for bachelor parties. So, hell yeah, Eric E. Rock. Wow, it's still on. Yeah, yeah. That's how you learn, right? So I'm there hanging out, talking shit with my friends, drinking, because I used to drink a lot back in the day, so much to the point where it's like, okay, enough is enough. Let's stop this. Another reason why I joined my MC Nation. And we're just talking like, how cool would it be to do a show here, like a DJ event? And it's kind of unheard of because mainly when people come for the DJ, they're there for the DJ. They don't know proper gentleman's club etiquette, how you're supposed to tip a dancer after her dance, or they're going to be asking you for lap dances. So don't be like feel offended or anything, or just talk down or be mean to them, which I've done all that in the past. Well, I'm talking with my girl I was dating at the time, and the DJ goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Olivia or Bianca, one of those two names," because she changed her name. She goes, "Excuse me," and she goes up and starts dancing. And I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm dating a dancer," and it was fine, but some of them get caught up in a lifestyle, doing drugs, sleeping with customers, workers there, whatnot, sleeping around. So that got old after a while. Fast forward to last year, I get back from the Cervantes brothers' first VIP event at Spearmint Rhino in San Jose. And I come back home and I'm like, okay, I got to do something. And with everything going on, things getting locked down, you got to have proof of, you have to have proof that you got something, I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get shut up, man. You have to wear this thing on your face to get inside, and some of my friends are just like, I'm sick of this. Like, I can't go out and celebrate with my friends. So I bring these two powerful men together, Jacob and Flo, and I just say like, hey, what do you think about doing our own show at this place? I got a venue. Flo drove actually an hour from where he lived to check it out. I walked in nervously to talk to the owner one Friday at 5, really early. I'll never forget. She was shooting pool. I actually scared her. And I told her, I'm like, how much to rent the place? Well, this is when I'm bringing to the table, this is what we can do for you. Let us do our thing. Have faith in us. We'll do it right. And if it's a hit, we'll do it again. If not, I'll pay you the difference. Well, I wrote up a contract where we had a mutual agreement. Now, the reason why I go like this is because get everything in writing if you're going to do business with someone. Why? Because one of my business partners got effed over not once, but twice by 2 different people at a festival he did 2 years ago. Holy cow, last May. I just got home from Kuwait, my last deployment. I got to play at this festival early Friday. One reason why I like playing in the beginning, well, for one, there's not too many people there and I'm not that nervous. But 2, I'm like on this natural energy high. So like the rest of the night or even that weekend, I'm kind of running off this natural energy high. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Like, how do I get to be part of this? How do I contribute to this? And after hearing one of his friends slash former business partners slash roommates F him over on some money and showing signs of an addict, and he, in a lovingly way, reached out to him, tried helping him. I even talked to him, and no denying where he had to go public with it. And you don't want to go public in those type of situations. However, when it gets to a point where enough is enough and you do so much for someone, warning other people about them, because if someone F's you over, would you want to warn one of your brothers about them? Would you want to be like, hey, don't go into business with this person, they did this to me? So that's what happened. And I'm like, you know what, I'm sick of seeing good people getting taken advantage of. Like my one of my best friends slash business partners getting scammed, and hearing it from another business partner that we brought in, and he's like, okay, we'll do a handshake agreement with, and I'm like, no, we're gonna get everything in writing, and we actually had to modify it a couple times and get a mutual agreement so both parties are happy. And let's say something happens where they lose out on money, not everyone's going to lose out. Like they're going to promise what they're said they're going to do and what they're going to pay. So if you go into business with someone, make sure it's in writing. Now, if they're IMC Nation, shout out to one of the brothers that worked with me on that. I owed him some money for some time. And I checked in with him because I remember when so-called friends would borrow money from me, or just some night, I don't know. I don't know what people are thinking when they just borrow money from someone and not pay them back or conveniently forget. But he's like, you're IMC Nation, so you're good. As long as you're IMC Nation, you're fine. And I've seen situations in the past where a former IMC Nation member owed someone money, and we'd have quite a few people check in with him. I call it an accountability check, where you're just checking in with someone in a non-threatening way, just saying, hey, this is what you said you were going to do. Just seeing how you're doing and making sure you're going to do it. So I am now living my dream thanks to doing what AZD told me to do. And that's what life is all about. So your time is now. Stop holding yourself back. Welcome home. If you have anything you'd like to share, questions, if you'd like to be my guest on a free Dragon's Lair, well, it's $97 a month, but you can be my guest for one lecture for free, Saturday through Friday. His lectures are open on Fridays at 10 a.m. They're all at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And he has advanced lectures after that. Sometimes they're at night. And some of our IMC Nation leaders go live as well. So any questions, comments? I got about 10 minutes. I'm supposed to cut this about 10 minutes short before 8. So
Yeah, I got a question. So as far as getting things in writing, I always felt that insisting on getting things in writing could break the rapport of the relationship. So sometimes certain circumstances where maybe I should have, or where it might cost something, like I might not be a lawyer, but I want to get something in writing. But yeah, I just hesitated about doing that because I was like, then suddenly it's business, not friendship anymore. And I feel like some people could take that the wrong way. Now, obviously, it's my job to not care how they take it. But I could see some people getting offended. So what's your opinion on that and how to handle that if they do?
well, I tell you what, I don't want to go into too much detail right now, but a very good friend of mine / business partner owes me a lot of money. And when your friend / business partner posts themselves spending money before paying you back, it makes a good man want to do bad things. So learning from that, and hearing one of our former IMC Nation members, let's call him Pete. I'm not going to say his full name because he doesn't deserve it because he's no longer IMC Nation. When you think you have it bad, his class was one of the first lectures that I invested in outside of AZD. And when you think you have it bad, he had it 10 times worse. Another one, Nico, no longer IMC Nation. It's sad because these people have so much potential, and that's why I say keep showing up, because it's not going to happen right away, but if you stick with it for years, you're going to look back and be like, oh my God, I'm so glad I stayed in. So your best friend, family member, I don't care who they are, if they're not willing to get it in writing and do what they said they're going to do, then I'm out. Even Flo and Jacob, who I consider brothers now, one of them is said handshake agreement, and I'm like, No. And I'm thinking, and we share personal stories with each other of how we got burned in the past. I'm like, that's exactly why. And then one of them is contemplating on going to some dude's house to beat him up. And it's like, okay, what does that solve? You know, like taking legal action towards someone who owes you money, who said they're going to do something and didn't do it. How much more is that going to take? Or them thinking like, what is going on? Because there's a thing with narcissism. That's another thing I learned too with narcissists and empaths. One of them are feeding off of the other. They feed off of each other. And a lot of these people, they mean well. And oh boy, I'm getting excited now. They think they mean well and they have good intentions, but they don't know what they're doing is wrong. And you have to like gently show them like, hey, this is how you're being, this is what you're doing. Because I've seen situations in the past where one will yell at the other for not doing what they said they're going to do, and then they just up and leave and think that they don't need to do what they said they're going to do, what they promised to do, what they promised to pay back. That's why another thing, you never yell at someone who owes you something, because they'll just take that and be like, oh, I don't like the way you talk to me, so I'm going to use that against you. Yeah, we have attorneys in IMC Nation. I took a class on just one class on law in the full sale entertainment business. I was actually considering being a lawyer in the entertainment industry, but sitting in a library for 12 hours a day just and trying to memorize all these laws just didn't seem that much fun for me. So I'm like, I'm gonna get really good at what I do and know where to look. You can search anything and do your research on Google and pretty much find it. And also run it by someone who knows the law, who practices the law. You have the money for their time. If not, Will Rios, I'll give him a plug. He's got his own show too. He's one of the base leaders. Run it by him. So I hope that answers your question, Elijah. Question, Mr. Neal. And if you have any more questions, message me in my Beyond Clarity Telegram group. If you want to be a member, reach out to me. I'm Kickstart Cash on Instagram. That's Kickstart, and then Cash is Kash. I give free 25-minute clarity sessions, allowing a space of peace, nothing, because with nothing, you can do anything. Okay, Mr. Neil Kerr, what has been the greatest benefit you've gained from applying the principles of Stoicism taught through the AZD process? Well, you see some Stoic quotes around my coat of arms here that I rightfully earned along with these beads. My favorite, my one lately is Carpe Diem, seize a day, because being the winter time in Wisconsin, I have a hard time getting up in the morning. I'm going to say what you said, Eric Erock. I think I'm going to continue going live on my Instagram here because someone requested to jump on. And if it's you, Eric, this guy is a freaking legend. That's all I can say. My mind, Mr. Neil Kerr, is memento mori. One day I'm going to die. And knowing that and actually getting into almost a near fatal car accident back in 2016 and seeing my life flash before my eyes. What happened real quick is I got hit by a high 18-year-old, and I had my 15-year-old godson with me at the time. And my first thought was, okay, this is it. And then looking at my godson, I'm like, no, this isn't it yet. I was like, oh, you lived a good life, but you're like, did you live the life you wanted to live? No, came through. The attorney asked me if I wanted to press charges. I said no, because I was 18 once and I made decisions. I said, I want to see this young man go through AA and A meetings. I don't want to see him sitting in jail or prison. I want to see him going through classes and learn from his mistakes. Know that it's like, you don't have to get high or get drunk or whatever, going on these road trips. Hopefully he learned his lesson. Funny thing real quick before the cops took him away, his dad came to me and he's like, do me a favor, never have kids. I'm like, you have to tell me again. So I hope that answers your question. Stoicism, like I always had a hard time sitting down and focusing and reading. So I like listening or listening to YouTube, and they have stoic quotes on there you can listen to, and affirmations, and you must apply it. Because for the longest time, I would think something like, "Oh yeah, carpe diem, seize the day," and then just go back to what I was doing. Turn my alarm off. I used to check in. This is like way back a few years ago, love spell. I would check in, and then I'd turn my phone off and go back to bed. I was a poser. And it showed. You can only hide for so long where it's like, okay, it's showing. Like you're, and that's why you want accountability. That's why you want to be in a tribe of people that hold you to your word and be like, hey, remember that thing you said you're gonna do? And you may not like it, but they're looking out for you. Why? Because when things hit the fan and someone needs to count on you, they're gonna want to know that you have their back. And like, how many people can you count on? Let's say you need $1,000, something happens. You need to borrow money, or you need to ride somewhere, or you need food, or you're like me and you're deployed on the other side of the country, and your dad's crippled at home, and he's got no one else to count on. How many people do I have to count on? And I got a couple friends here. Thank goodness for that. So I hope that answers your question. So someone out there needs to hear your version of your story from you. So stop holding yourself back. My name's CK. This is Beyond Clarity. Keep showing up. Os.